You've been told your whole life that prayer requires a certain posture. Kneel down, bow your head, close your eyes, fold your hands. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful prayers in the Bible were prayed lying flat on the ground? Your posture does not determine God's response to your prayer. And yet, millions of believers carry guilt every single night because they talk to God from their bed instead of their knees. Guilt, shame, lies. Today, we're going to shatter that religious lie. We're going to look at what Scripture actually says about prayer posture, examine the prayers that shook heaven from a horizontal position, and discover why lying down might actually unlock a dimension of prayer you've never experienced. As the psalmist David wrote, "On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night." By the end of this video, you will never feel guilty about praying in bed again. And you might even discover that your most intimate conversations with God happen when your body is at rest. The posture lie. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Where did we get the idea that God only listens when you're on your knees? Think about it. Did Jesus ever say, "Unless you kneel, I will not hear you"? Did Paul write, "Bow your head or your prayers bounce off the ceiling"? No, that doctrine doesn't exist in Scripture. It was invented by religious tradition, not by God. The truth is, the Bible records prayers in almost every physical position imaginable. Standing, sitting, walking, lying face down, lying face up, arms raised, arms spread out, even prayers with eyes wide open. The prophet Nehemiah prayed while serving wine to a king. He didn't even close his eyes. Hannah prayed so intensely while standing that the priest thought she was drunk. God has never once rejected a prayer based on body position. The idea that kneeling is the only correct posture is a man-made filter placed over a God who said, "Call upon me, and I will answer." He didn't add conditions about your knees. Man-made rules, not God's. But if posture doesn't matter to God, why does it matter so much to us? That leads us to something deeper. Prayers from bed. Here's what most people don't realize. The Bible is filled with prayers prayed from a lying position, and not weak prayers, world-changing prayers. David, the man after God's own heart, made his bed a prayer altar. In Psalm 4:4 he writes, "Search your hearts and be silent when on your beds." That word silent in Hebrew is damam, which means to be still, to meditate, to commune. David wasn't just falling asleep. He was entering a sacred space. "I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I will not be shaken." And David wasn't the only one. Hezekiah, when told he was going to die, turned his face to the wall while lying in bed and prayed one of the most desperate prayers in Scripture. God heard him. God healed him. God added 15 years to his life. 15 years. That prayer was prayed lying down, face against a wall, tears streaming, and heaven moved. If this truth from Scripture is opening your eyes, hit like and subscribe for more biblical wisdom that transforms, because what comes next might change how you pray forever. But David and Hezekiah aren't even the most shocking examples. Jacob's pillow. Let me take you to one of the most mysterious encounters in the entire Bible. Genesis chapter 28. Jacob is running for his life. He's exhausted. He's alone. He has nothing except the clothes on his back. He finds a stone, uses it as a pillow, and lies down to sleep. And what happens? Heaven opens directly above him. He sees a ladder stretching from earth to heaven with angels ascending and descending. And God himself speaks to Jacob in that moment, not in a temple, not at an altar, not while kneeling, while lying down with his head on a rock. Jacob wakes up and says something extraordinary. "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." He calls it Bethel, the house of God. God turned a patch of dirt and a stone pillow into a portal to heaven. Here's what this tells us. Your bed is not too common for God. Your bedroom is not too ordinary for his presence. If God can meet Jacob on the bare ground, he can meet you under your blankets. Bethel, house of God. But there's another lying down encounter that goes even deeper. The boy Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 3. A boy named Samuel is lying down in the temple of the Lord, not kneeling, not standing, lying down, and God calls his name, not once, not twice. 3 times God speaks to a child who is lying in bed. "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." This wasn't a casual conversation. This was the prophetic commissioning of one of Israel's greatest prophets. The word that came to Samuel that night while he was lying down changed the entire trajectory of a nation. Kings were anointed because of it. Dynasties were established. History was altered. And it all started with a boy lying down in the dark, willing to listen. God chose the stillness of the night, to deliver his most important message. Notice the pattern. God didn't wait for Samuel to get up and assume a proper prayer posture. He spoke to him exactly where he was, exactly how he was, because God doesn't need your body in a certain position. He needs your heart open. He needs your heart in a certain position. And that brings us to the real issue that nobody talks about: heart over body. Here's the theological truth that demolishes every argument about prayer posture. God looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7 says it plainly. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. The heart, your posture, is outward appearance. Your heart is what God is scanning. You could kneel for 3 hours with a heart full of bitterness, and heaven stays silent. Or you could lie in bed at 2 in the morning, broken and desperate, whispering, "God, help me," and the throne room of heaven leans in to listen. Jesus himself addressed this in Matthew 6. He condemned the Pharisees who prayed standing on street corners to be seen by others. Their posture was perfect. Their hearts were empty. Religious performance without genuine surrender is noise, not prayer. Then Jesus said to go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. He didn't say kneel. He said go somewhere private, be honest, be real. Authenticity before God matters more than any physical position. And this reveals something even more powerful about what happens when you pray lying down. Vulnerability unlocked. There's a reason some of the deepest prayers happen lying down, and psychology actually confirms this. When you lie down, your body enters a state of physical surrender. Your defenses drop. Your guard comes down. The masks you wear all day start to peel away. Masks off, truth revealed. Think about when people are most honest. It's not during the day when they are performing. It's at night, in bed, in the dark, when there's nothing left to prove to anyone. This is exactly why the Psalms are filled with night prayers. Psalm 42:8 says, "By day the Lord directs his love, at night his song is with me, a prayer to the God of my life. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." There's something about the night watch that strips away pretense. You're not performing for anyone. You're not trying to look spiritual. It's just you and God, raw, unfiltered, real. Lying down before God is the ultimate act of spiritual surrender. And neuroscience tells us that in this relaxed state, the brain's prefrontal cortex quiets down, the analytical mind rests, and the spirit becomes more receptive. Your most defended moments are your least prayerful ones. But there's a critical warning about praying lying down that we need to address: the real danger. Now, let me be honest with you. There is a danger when praying lying down, but it's not what religious people told you. The danger isn't that God won't hear you. The danger is that you might fall asleep. And before you laugh, even the disciples had this problem. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus asked Peter, James, and John to stay awake and pray with him. It was the most critical night in human history, and they fell asleep 3 times. Jesus found them sleeping and said, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Even the closest followers of Jesus struggled to stay awake in prayer. So yes, falling asleep is a real challenge. But here's the beautiful part that most people miss. Even if you fall asleep mid-prayer, you fell asleep talking to your Father, asleep in his arms. What loving father gets angry because his child falls asleep while talking to him? None. He gives to his beloved, even in sleep. God doesn't need you to finish the prayer. He knows what you need before you ask. Some of the most powerful things God has done in people's lives happened while they were sleeping. Dreams, visions, healing, restoration. And that leads us to something practical: the night watch. Throughout Scripture, there's a powerful practice called the night watch. The ancient Israelites divided the night into watches, and many of God's servants used these hours for prayer. 1. First watch, sunset to 9 p.m. reflection. 2. Second watch, 9 p.m. to midnight intercession. 3. Third watch, midnight to 3 a.m. breakthrough. 4. Fourth watch, 3 a.m. to sunrise revelation. Jesus himself practiced this. Luke 6:12 tells us he spent the entire night in prayer before choosing his 12 apostles. The most important leadership decision in history was bathed in a full night of prayer. And Psalm 119:148 says, "My eyes stay open through the watches of the night, that I may meditate on your promises." The night watches were sacred times of deep communion with God. Now, I'm not saying you need to stay up all night, but here's what's powerful. When you're lying in bed and sleep hasn't come yet, or you wake up at 3 a.m. and can't fall back asleep, that might not be insomnia. That might be a divine invitation to pray. Instead of reaching for your phone, reach for God. Those quiet midnight moments might be the most spiritually charged hours of your entire day. Divine appointment, not insomnia. But how do you actually make this practical in your daily life? Practical prayer. Let me give you a framework for powerful bedtime prayer that goes beyond just saying something before you sleep. First, start with gratitude. Before you ask for anything, thank God for 3 specific things from your day. This shifts your heart from anxiety to worship. Gratitude is the gateway that opens your heart to God's presence. Second, practice what David did in Psalm 139:23. Search me, God, and know my heart. Invite God to examine you. Lying in bed in the quiet, ask Him to show you anything that needs to be addressed. This is where real transformation happens, when there are no distractions, no noise, just honesty. Search me, know me. Third, surrender your tomorrow. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Hand God your worries about tomorrow before you close your eyes. Cast all your anxiety on Him, because He cares for you. And finally, just talk to Him like a father. No religious language needed, no King James English. Just your voice, your heart, your real words. He already knows what you're going to say. He just wants to hear it from you. And this brings us to the most important point of all. God meets you. Here's the truth that ties everything together. God is not limited by your position. He's not impressed by your posture. He's not waiting for you to kneel before He listens. He meets you. He met Jacob lying on the ground. He met Samuel lying in the temple. He met Hezekiah lying sick in bed. He met David lying awake at night. Every single time, God showed up. Not because of how they positioned their bodies, but because of how they positioned their hearts. God responds to the cry of the heart, not the position of the body. So tonight, when you climb into bed, don't let guilt steal your conversation with God. Don't let religion convince you that your bed is not holy ground. Wherever you meet God becomes sacred space. Your bedroom can be a Bethel. Your pillow can be an altar. Your whisper can shake heaven. Your bed's sacred ground. The question was never what happens when you pray lying down. The real question is, what happens when you stop praying at all? Don't let that be you. Every posture of the body bows before the posture of the heart. Kneeling is beautiful. Standing is powerful. But lying down in the quiet of the night, with nothing left to perform and no one left to impress, that might be where God finds you at your most real. Be still and know that I am God. Tonight, make your bed a meeting place. Don't rush the conversation. Don't worry about fancy words. Just be present. Just be honest. Just be His child, lying in the arms of a Father who never sleeps, who watches over you, who bends down to hear every whispered word. Be still, know God. If you made it this far, comment Bethel to show that you understand your bed can be holy ground. Stay in the Word, stay in the Spirit, and watch what God does. If this blessed you, hit like and subscribe for more. Share this with someone who needs to hear it tonight. See you in the next one.